Hiya, it's Alex on BlueMoonRisingTV. Today we're looking ahead to Wednesday's massive Champions League clash with Paris Saint Germain. I'm going to be talking through the points, and today I'm joined by BlueMoonRisingTV stalwarts. It's Walter and Stephen. Hello boys, how you doing?
How you doing?
I'm not bad, Alex. Yourself?
Yeah, very well. Cheers, Steve. Thanks for asking. Walter, I'm going to start with you. How big a clash is this in City's recent history? Some people are saying this is one of the biggest City games ever.
I don't think it is, just for the simple reason being, yes, it's further than we've got in the Champions League ever before. But the whole point is, I think finishing in top four is far more important than if we got beat Paris Saint Germain. The simple reason being, we've got Pep Guardiola for 3 years. So what I would say is we need to be not wasting one of those years qualifying for the Champions League. So is it big? I tell you what it is. It's nice rather than been an important game for me.
Yeah,
Stephen, would you agree with that? League over Champions League?
Yeah, always. I mean, I think the league's your bread and butter, really. I mean, the Champions League is kind of the icing on the cake, so to speak. And I'm with Walter in terms of it's a nice, and it helps this season feel a little bit more kind of accomplished than it probably is overall. But it'd be a good step. It'd be a good step forward for next season, presumably we get in the Champions League, to kind of have that quarter-final duck off our back, so to speak, and actually get into the last four. But I struggle to feel that it's as momentous as maybe some people are making out, but I can't say I wouldn't be very excited if we got past Paris Saint Germain. So,
I mean, obviously we beat Bournemouth 4-0 on the weekend. It's looking a little bit more likely that fourth place is in. How big is that 4-0 win? Does that make it a little bit easier for us to go into this game? Are we going to be looking a little bit more confident? We looked a lot more assured than we have done in recent weeks. Is there some sort of benefit that we can transfer league form into European form?
I'm not even sure it's just about league form. I mean, the way I look at it is the players were actually away on international duty, and we lost a game before they left. I can't remember overly what the score was or anything like that. But I think it's nice to get the lads back together, to get them training, to get them playing, and then to get them over into Paris, obviously get a training session there, and be at our best to hopefully get a result at Paris Saint-Germain.
I mean, I thought it was a really good. It couldn't have come at a better time, that 4-0 victory for us, because we've had, obviously a few bad results. We hadn't scored in 3 games, but for the first time the team looked kind of confident. It was like back at the start of the season again, when they were playing without any kind of negativity. They were more creative, they were open, and it was really nice to see that. And it was obviously a massive boost after Bruyne back. And going into the PSG game on Wednesday, I think that'll be really useful, because they're obviously in the right frame of mind now, and it's made me feel a lot more confident personally anyway.
So going forward, going away, we might get a goal. But let's look at the back as well, because PSG, they have got one of the top strikers in Europe, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. The back four against Bournemouth looked pretty solid. Mangala and Otamendi are probably going to play on Wednesday night. Have they got what it takes to keep Zlatan out, Stephen?
On paper you would probably say no, but that would be based off the form of the season. But they are both, international defenders of a high quality on their day. And there was this kind of stat flying around about, I think we've won 69% of the league games that Mangala's played, and won 50% overall in the league. So there's obviously some ability there, and they have played together before at Porto, where they were defensive partners for a while. So you do think with the confidence, and even like Zabaleta and Clichy looked quite decent against Bournemouth. There's stranger things have happened, and we could keep them out.
Walter, are you feeling confident in our defence?
Yeah. I mean, I've gone on record as saying is Mangala hasn't overly got a footballing brain. But what he has got, he's got the perfect physique. And if you go and tell him to do a job, if you go and tell him to sit on Zlatan, I'm going to name him colours to the mast, and probably look very foolish on Thursday. But what I'm saying is Mangala is actually ideally built to actually handle. If you remember Costa, when he marks him, that's the type of player. And you've got Ibrahimovic, who's a big lad as well. And I think Mangala, to be fair, is probably the ideal central defender we've got to actually go in and just go and do a man-to-man job on him. Yes. You talk also about, I mean, if you look at the decent teams that Paris Saint-Germain have played this year, it was Real Madrid. They're the one decent team they've played this year. I know Chelsea fans, get right and below. I don't care. What I'm thinking is, when they came up against Real Madrid, they actually couldn't score any goals. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that these two boys are ideally built to shut down Paris Saint-Germain.
Okay, and let's talk about that as well, because you mentioned there that Real Madrid is probably the biggest team that they've played this year and the only major club. I'm with you on that one. Sorry, Chelsea fans. But let's talk about that. I mean, they play in the French League. They won the French League over a month ago, got it all wrapped up. The Champions League now is their focus. Is that going to be a benefit to PSG, though?
Well, the way I'd look at that is if you actually, if you want to predict the future, you look at the past. And if you look at the way Paris Saint Germain haven't reached the final yet, and you also look at Bayern Munich when they started to wrap it up under Pep the league, they actually haven't taken that form with them then into the Champions League. So if I look at City, the games come thick and fast at the end of a league, and that's when you actually start going on a run. And there's no distractions there. Winning breeds winning. And unfortunately, if you're just sort of taking it easy and then all of a sudden you come up against a decent team in the Champions League, whether it's City or whether it's somebody getting the next round, I can't see these boys winning it. I don't think it's beneficial at all.
Yeah, I'm with Walter on that. I think it's easy to switch off, put all your focus in one game, then build it up and not be kind of in the right zone. You need to kind of roll into games feeling confident, playing at that same level. Consistency is important for any successful team, and I think we could potentially take the eye off the ball. I mean, there was a Thiago Silva quote saying how they wanted to win the league early so they could wrap it up and focus on the Champions League, but that already says that they're admitting that they're taking their eye off the ball in some games in the league. So how is that going to be a good thing? I mean, you need to be your very best always to kind of encourage that positive behaviour. And I think probably this could actually work in our favour for once. Like the fact that the players are all constant in the zone, never out of it.
I really like this point, actually. So I want to throw out the comments. What do you think? Does the Premier League make it better at this point for the Champions League, more competitive football, or is it a hindrance, like some people are saying? Okay, let's move on. I want to talk very, very quickly about Yaya Toure, who this morning has been linked with a move to PSG. Dimitri Seluk has said that Yaya is definitely going this summer. Team Talk among other online sources are saying Yaya are out. Yaya probably won't play at the moment as looks on Wednesday because he's out injured. So the question, I guess, to you, Walter, is will we miss Yaya Toure, and do you think he's off to Paris in the summer?
It's almost like we've all seen the film Groundhog Day, and that's Yaya's agent. You just wake up and it's about this time of year, you open a paper and Yaya's leaving. I wouldn't put any credence in that whatsoever. I think his agent just seems a bit of a mug, to be honest. If he's watching, you type in below as well. Let me know your opinion. But the whole point is, Yaya, anybody who watched any of the videos knows I love Yaya. And fingers crossed, toes crossed, just saluting Magpies, doing everything I can just to make sure that Yaya's playing. Because I think he's the one player that can actually change games. He actually changed the game right at the end in the Ukraine and gave us that cushion with that just worldie at the end. Big games, big player. Please play Yaya.
I mean,
Stephen, is Yaya the difference?
Yaya's absolutely class. I mean, I'm with Walter in terms of he's undeniably a great player, but they would counter that by saying that the team shape was good at the weekend, and De Bruyne was in his number 10 role. And if Yaya has to play, it's either a team on the field or in a free. And if it's a free, you drop one of Fernando, or you move De Bruyne out wide to accommodate him. I mean, I also kind of have a slight attitude of you shouldn't really change a winning team or something that's confident. And for the first time in weeks and months, we looked like a team on Saturday that was full of ideas and creativity. And as much as I want to see Yaya back, I'm also scared of kind of breaking up that cohesion, that chemistry that team seemed to have. But having said that, I wouldn't put it past Yaya to be the one who scored a 25-yarder in the last 10 minutes and won us a game just like that. So it's tough, really.
I've got to say I'm with you on that one, Stephen. I think with Yaya Toure, like you said, I don't want to break up that team that just won 4-0. Fernandinho and Fernando both in form. De Bruyne back as well, but also Yaya likes his big games, doesn't he? And I can see him scoring a worldie and making the papers. Let us know what you think. Would you start Yaya if he was fit? In the comments below. All right, we're going to double this up and we're going to turn it into a pick the team. So we'll start in net, boys. Willy Caballero, I think, is certain to start. So let's look at the back four. Back two, Otamendi and Mangala, surely, Walter?
Otamendi, yeah. I mean, you're not going to put Di Michaelis in for this, and Company's out. There's your back two, sorted.
Stephen, agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I do not want to see Di Michaelis against Latan. I mean, it would be funny, but it'd be terrible at the same time. Yeah, not for us, yeah. But full backs, I mean, he has a tendency to rotate kind of Sanya and Zabaleta, but Sanya seems to get the nod for the big games at the moment, and I can't really see past that. back in France, reliable, consistent, away from home. I think he's going to go for Sané there. And at the same time, I think that'll be the same reasons Clichy's get picked as well, because he's in a great form at the moment. So I think the back four really writes itself, doesn't it, at the moment?
Yeah. I agree with that. Every word.
Yeah, so we're going to go Sagna, Otamendi, Mangala and Clichy. We're going to have more French players than Paris Saint Germain at this rate.
That's the
all right, so moving into midfield, I'm assuming we're going to go 4-2-3-1. So are we going the two Ferns? Are we putting Yaya Touré in there? What are your thoughts, Stephen?
It depends if Yaya's going to be fit or not. I mean, he said he's going to be. It's a race against time to see if he's fit or not. I think he might not quite make it. I mean, this is based on nothing other than just a guess. But he could be there. He could not. I would personally go with the two Fernandinhos in midfield. But what do you reckon, Walter?
I'd go for them too. I'll tell you what might be an idea is because Kevin De Bruyne is actually coming off the back of a long injury. And I'm just thinking, you've got your Yaya there, who's also just coming back after an injury. And I'm just thinking, if you start De Bruyne further up and then replace him on the 60-minute mark, as he likes to do, with Big Yaya, who likes to score those big goals at the end. But going back to the...
I'm liking the sound of that.
I'm hoping so.
We'd be talking about Manchester City and you could be taking one world-class player off for another. So don't have to pinch yourself. All right, so we're going to go. We're going De Bruyne in the 10 with the two Ferns in the sort of anchor role. Okay, so down the left, David Silva sort of reprised his former form and looked a little bit more like himself against Bournemouth on that left-hand side. Would you be going for that?
I'd definitely go for that. I mean, the thing, if you notice, Silva actually looked better with De Bruyne on the pitch as well. De Bruyne raises everybody's game. So the other thing it does, I always feel, is it gives the opposition more to think about. Sometimes we can be a little bit predictable, should I say, if the ball's going to Silva every time. So it also relieves a lot of pressure on him. So definite Silva starting on the left, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see past that. He looked so much more involved than he has done in recent weeks, and he wasn't quite at his very best, but there was encouraging signs there, and it was because of the movement off him. I mean, there was space for Navas on the right, there was space for him to move around the left as well, and him and De Bruyne were kind of interchanges in the middle, and Aguero was dropping deep occasionally. It was just really well balanced, and I like that. And I personally would start Navas as well because it seemed to be working. I mean, I thought the team worked really well on Saturday.
It certainly did. It did the damage. It's just whether we can kind of get everyone at 100% ready to go by Wednesday. And I'm sure players, you know, Saturday to Wednesday, there's 4 days in between, and a nice stay at a lovely hotel on Tuesday night, I presume. It'll do a job. To be honest, though, Silva down the left just seems like the obvious choice, especially with Sterling injured. Kolarov played there for about 20 minutes against Bournemouth. On the right-hand side, then, the man that no one seems to
scored a worldie.
He did, yeah.
Sorry.
He scored a worldie on the left.
That did, to be fair, Kolarov. But I want to talk about Navas on the right-hand side. He's the man that no one seems to like, but he keeps performing this season in a City shirt. Am I wrong?
He's alive, isn't he? Yeah, I mean, horrible to go on.
I'll go on then. I mean, Navas, the thing I like about Navas is he plays both sides of the ball. I think he's quite heavily criticised as well. He's up and down, he's energetic, and he's due a quality, decent goal in the Champions League. And I'm not saying put your mortgage on it, but I think he might have scored on Wednesday night.
Yeah, you wouldn't see any of that money back again, let's be honest, doing that. But I mean, I think he gets a lot of criticism as well. He's not ever going to be a world star, but he's a good, solid player, and he'll kind of put in a shift for us. He'll be reliable. The right side of the defence, the right side of the pitch will be solid for us at very least. And, you know, there's a lot more space for him with the movement of Silva and De Bruyne, so I would go for Navas too, definitely.
Especially with David Luiz bombing on as well. There's going to be gaps appearing in that back four, and someone like Navas, for me, is someone who can punish him for that. Of course, Kelechi Iheanacho is in the Champions League squad, but I've got a feeling he might not be starting ahead of Sergio Aguero.
Over to you.
No, I mean, I wouldn't do that, obviously, because I love Kelechi, but Sergio is Sergio, and he's just had a good game against Bournemouth, and he's obviously got to be our number one up top. I'm just hoping he does play just the one striker, because that's what I think we need away, you know, in France. So.
Surely 4-4-2 away in Paris would be a little bit almost suicidal.
Well, it would be. I mean, Aguero was picked himself. I mean, the worrying thing for me is if you look at the spine of our team of Hart, Kompany, Yaya and Aguero, we just seem to have the tip of the diamond, but what a diamond he is. If anybody can get the goals, anybody can get the goals. If anybody can rise to the occasion. I mean, Aguero scored arguably the biggest goal in our history, and that was under the pressure. And he never lets us down. So they're going to be honest, they're going to be terrified of Sergio. Absolutely terrified of what he can do. His movement off the ball, his running down the channels, his ability to finish, his ability to link up. They're going to be terrified of him. Of course, we'd be mad not to start him.
It's also really nice about the French press are reviewing De Bruyne and Aguero sort of coming back to form in the same way that the British press are looking at Zlatan. So I think you're right there, Walter. We've got to forget, they have a small club mentality about it. We've got players that frighten other teams as well. I think we've got a pretty strong 11 there. I'm happy with that if you are, boys. All that's left to do now is to get a score prediction from you, Stephen. You feeling confident? Give me the numbers.
I think we'll get the away goal. I think it'll be 1-1, but I'm fine with that. I think that's a good result to take back to the Etihad.
Walter?
3-2 City.
Go on.
Ever confident, I like it. Boys and girls at home, let us know your score predictions in the comments below and the 11 that you would start. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for joining me, Walter and Stephen. This is BlueMoonRisingTV. We'll see you next time.